Hello, you can see that Brexit has now officially been triggered. The whole of Britain is brimming with anticipation, surprise, shock, and obviously wondering what's going to happen in the future. Can she survive without her European Union? Now, what is crucial is that in this political transition, you also have Scotland, who wants to separate from England. Now, should we extend this further? Should white people be given a referendum on multiculturalism? Because unlike white feminists, which are working LGBT, forcing their way of life, people are happy with that. Nobody has a problem with it. But the race problem will always be something that people just can't get used to. We can't get used to loving and living and integrating with someone of another race. For some unknown reason, we can't. We don't mind trannies, we don't mind men, being pregnant, we don't even mind, incest, all that, anything perverted, we don't mind living with. But when it comes to races, we seem to have a problem. So should white people be given a referendum, to cast a vote to say whether they want, non-whites in America or non-whites in Britain? What's your view on that? Right, what's your view? A white friend of mine who's patriotic says that the government will never cast that kind of referendum. It's suicidal, because even if we did have referendum and many white people in a democracy voted to get rid of all the blacks and the Indians, etc., in the end we're stuck with trading. We're stuck with trading, and that's the only reason why the races live together, because white people can't live on cabbages and carrots. They can't live without tea bags. They can't live without all this special seasoning that they're now used to, and herbs, and imports. It's just impossible. And is that the reason why we're forced to live together as a race? That's not healthy. If we live together in this multicultural cesspool purely because of our need to import and export, then that is a problem, because race relations is not working. You have to look at the number of hate, on social media, the number of hate that exists between black and white and black. The race war. You never hear of LGBT war. You never hear of somebody wants to go to war against white feminists for they being in power. You got a leader of Scotland, a woman, Angela Merkel. You got Theresa May, another white woman, in power. Nobody finds it a threat and wants to go make war against white females. Nobody. They're happy with it. They're happy. But if that were black people, oh my God, there'd be a race war by now. So what I'm saying is the races are not ready to live together, and all this brewing and brimming and threats in the background of a looming race war shows that we still do not know how to live together. It is, we're struggling as a race to live together. So should white people be given a referendum? Should they be given a chance to vote whether they want blacks and Indians to go back to their own country? And could white people be trusted with such a vote? They messed up when it came to Brexit. They thought they knew what they were doing, only to find out that still from Europe you're going to have loads of white immigrants. They're not going to stop them from flowing over. So they screwed up with that. They also screwed up that Nigel Farage claimed 350 million would go to the NHS. Once the Brexit was sealed, they lied. They lied. And many said that I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. It's like an amateur boxer going into the ring with Mike Tyson, get the 7 belts knocked out of him, and then he claims he never knew what he was doing. You knew the guy was a professional boxer. You knew he was a professional boxer. But what happened was you thought to yourself you get a quick little earner. And then suddenly gives you one. Oh, do you know what I was doing? Do you know what I was doing? I signed a contract. Undiminished responsibility. I didn't know what I was doing. Yes, you did. Your greed and your prejudice got in the way. So, white people, they could not be trusted with the referendum to tear away from EU. They couldn't be trusted. Now people are saying that most of the voters were diminished responsibility. They weren't fully functional. So, can we trust white people to have a referendum, a proper referendum on multiculturalism, to see whether it's time to separate? Me, I'm full of love. I love white people. I love white people. But is the love reciprocated? Do they love me enough to live in their neighborhoods? Do they love me enough to work next to me, side by side with me? Do the white love? I don't just mean a handful of whites, I mean enough. That's what the issue is. It's not a number of handful of good whites, because a handful of people are not going to prevent racial antagony, racial war or threat of war. A handful of whites that can prevent that. We need enough good white people, enough good black people to say that we can live together and make it work. But unfortunately, if you look at social media, you know that a race problem is still pervasive. It's still prolific. It's not changed. If anything, it's gone worse. It's gone worse. Everyone talking about independent Scotland and independent Ireland, and when you hear that, the alarm bells are going off. So should we have an independent Britain? No, sorry. Should we have a referendum where white people should be given the vote on multiculturalism? Whether they think it's come to an end now, it's come to an end. Right? We should now have another serious democratic referendum whether black people and Indians and non-whites should leave white countries or leave Europe and America. Should an important referendum of that nature be given to white people? I think that's important. The world is changing fast. People are finding their identity. People are finding their political identity. People now plugging back into their country. People now wanting to have a sense of patriotism, nationalism, jingoism. It should not be deprived. Democracy means democracy. You cannot show off and claim that you're a democratic country and you're not going to give people the right to have a referendum on multiculturalism. You cannot be a democratic country. If people want separatism, if people want segregation, if people want the blacks, the Indians, the non-whites to go back to their country, that is democracy. Give the people what they want. You can't play games and see how long you can knock a nail into the wood before it breaks. You're hoping that the tides of race war will hold back. Too much deception, too much lies are behind the cement and fabric of multiculturalism. Too much, and that's why it can't work. The media, the social media, television, Hollywood, too much is behind this for it to work. For multiculturalism to work, you have to have the social media, television, everything behind it, supporting it, but it's not. And that's why we have to ask the question, should white people be given a referendum on multiculturalism? Let me know what you think. What's your view on that? In a democracy, do you think he should be given?